Halt! You shall not pass, because it is time for our next run. Here to bring us on a magical journey is Sakari with Lord of the Rings, The Third Age, Balrog %.
Hello everyone, I'm so glad to be back. We are here to do the Lord of the Rings Balrog %. I'm Sakari, and I'm joined at the commentary by Efreeti. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing okay.
Doing okay, yeah. It's pretty late here, so just because we have quite a long cutscene at the beginning, I will start pretty fast. Just so you know, we are playing on the easy difficulty because, yes, it's just lowering HP of the enemies, but since we are going to do some secretive techniques, to do the least, we will pretty fast have a game that goes much harder than we are expecting it to be. So if everyone's ready, we are going to be gone in 3, 2, 1, and go. Alright, welcome to the Lord of the Rings, The Third Age. If you have no idea what this game is, just to give you a quick idea, is basically they said, okay, we have the right to the Lord of the Rings movies, but we don't want to do the Lord of the Rings movies. We already did that with the Two Towers and Return of the King. So how about we do a turn-based RPG, very inspired by what was done at the time in Final Fantasy and things like this, but in the Lord of the Rings universe. And right away we are meeting the first enemy of the game, Nazguls. Wow, what a jump. So yeah, if you had... We are going to have to fight 3 Nazguls at the beginning of the game, which is fine, we can take them down. We are pretty strong because we are playing Barathor, and Barathor is very strong. But just so you know, we are going to accept that we can't win this. So yeah, this is one of those tutorial fights where you're supposed to learn that, yeah, you can't win those, and it's also a good idea that Barathor is not probably the strongest character in our speedrun. I will have to ask the whole chat that whenever Barathor is using one of those spells to do their biggest jaw in the chat, and we'll see about them very quickly. But first, let me introduce you to the best character of the game, which is Idriel. I love Idriel. So Idriel is our magician, and as you can see, she can cast very strong spells that make the game lag. Mostly because this is a spell you're not supposed to have until the very end of the game. So because they don't want to give it to you now inside the cutscene that is in the game engine, they put a video there instead of making it an in-game cutscene. I love it so much.
Interesting, she mirrors what Arwen says to Frodo.
Yeah, so you will have a lot of situations where you will see, oh, I know this is like the movies, but it's not, because we are doing sort of a parallel universe, and now that this very long cutscene is done, I'm going to be starting to play. So, just to give you an idea, we have the game cut in 2 parts. Basically, there's the open world part where we walk around, grab chests with items in there, etc, etc. And we will be using Idriel for most of it, and I'll explain it later. And then you have the fight part, where we basically have turn-based fights, where you just use spells, attacks, and things to destroy enemy that cost any action points, etc, etc. Of course, you gain XP when you defeat enemies and things like this, and I will try my best not to go too much into numbers, because to be very fair, it's one of the joy of learning an RPG and trying to route an RPG to try to make the numbers match. But it's not very fun to hear about during the whole run, so I'll try my best to keep it light. But we are playing as Idriel in the overworld mode because the character on the screen gets XP from the quest, so she will get a little bit more XP.
Yes,
on
I
screen.
know.
Who could it?
Patience.
I'm looking for Boromir of Gondor. Have you seen him?
No. But I
And
do
now we
see
learn that
orcs
Barathor
ahead.
is looking for Boromir. Wait, what? Basically, we are going after the Fellowship, and we are trying to catch up with them because Boromir has been sent on this quest by what we think is Gandalf, because it's his voice in his head. I'm trying to not mess up this fight. It's pretty simple to mess up things in this, and the reason why we don't want to mess up too much, weird angle, weird camera angle, is because
How does the combat work? It looks a little bit like Final Fantasy X.
yeah, it's like I said, very inspired by it.
But you were talking about not messing up. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I don't know which one of the Final Fantasy. I've not done any of the Final Fantasy or the old school Final Fantasy. But we are going to jump. So one of the things that exists in this wonderful world of Lord of the Ring is that there's magic, and we know one of the most powerful magic of all, which is the one that allows us to just slip through walls, if I can do it perfectly. So this is why the run is so cool too. It's that the game is not being very friendly with me. There we go. Is that we have out of bounds. Wow. This is one of those RPGs that the route of any percent and Balrog percent being just the short 3 first chapters of the game. The idea behind the run is just go to a point that allows you to do an out of bounds, use the out of bounds to go as far as you can outside of the game to the end of the chapter, and then do the fight that you need to finish the chapter and go to the next one. And this is exactly why I love this game so much, and the speedrun also, is because we are going to do those. We are going to be just skipping as much as we can. But right here we might have a random encounter, which is this Sauron high that you see at the top. If I'm fast enough, we might skip it. Yeah, great. So that's great luck. That's really great luck with us. We don't know exactly what conditions the eye to be fast or slow. Sometimes you reach this point and it's very fast and you have to get the random encounter because it's supposed to be a tutorial on how random encounter works. And sometimes it's pretty slow and you can just skip it. Because random encounters does not appear when you are next to a cutscene or scripted fight. So we are going to meet in this cutscene our third character, which is Dundin. I don't know if this is the name in English. I just realized I'm saying it in French. And he's pretty strong because look how he can just kill 2 wargs with 1 sword. Hello, lovelies. And unfortunately for us, he will decide to not use his sword but his bow for the rest of the run, which is much less powerful.
At your service, lady.
Ah, Dunedain.
And you can...
So perhaps you may.
This is one of the fun parts. Most of your characters have like 2 skill trees that I'm saying, and if you go deep enough into the hunter skill tree, the ranger craft, you can actually use his sword again, which is pretty cool. Just so sad that it's coming so late. But here we have a fight against a warg. It's pretty scripted, and that's going to be good to allow me to explain one little thing, which is the difference between magical and physical attacks. So physical attacks are, first of all attacks do a fixed amount of damage if there's no like range of damage on your attacks, which is very nice when you are trying to plan how to run this game in a speedrun environment. But the biggest difference is that magic cannot miss, and this is such a massive thing. I'm gonna just use that magic bush right here, which is, I don't know what kind of magic herbs there are on Middle Earth, but those ones are the one that make you walk on hair, so let's go.
Magic indeed.
And just so you know, we are doing an out of bound right here, but we could go at the end of the chapter right now. The problem is, we would be missing a character, and you might say, wait, is that a big problem? Well, actually no, you could still go and play without this character, because the game is weirdly made. But the character that we are missing is very strong, and why I don't want to be missing it. you saw me be stuck on a wall for a couple seconds here because there are still things loaded when we are doing out of bounds, and we need to be careful about them. There's a couple of invisible walls and also some fight triggers, so I know where I'm going. I'm being careful not to go too deep in some parts, but yeah, we are at the end of chapter 1. I'm going to put some spirit for Idriel, which is going to increase magic damage and our action point pool, and I'm going to also give some spirit to Eligust, which is our ranger.
Ah, fresh
Tracks.
tracks. The dwarf came this way.
He is heavy for one so small.
I'd be careful not to say that around here.
Quiet.
So, just so you know, Adod, our dwarf fella here. So this is very fun because Adod is basically fighting a troll by himself. Pretty strong guy. But we are going to have our first full team fight, and the limit is that we can only have how am I doing this? We can only have 3 characters on screen. So in the group. So we have always sort of Adod. Idriel is our caster. Eligust is going to be our let's say physical damage dealer. I don't know, he's the Archer guy. He's using Creature Bane a lot. Ooh, getting critical hit here. And Berathor is going to do Jaw. So yeah, here it comes. Jaw. And once he's done this, he's going to be out. Goodbye, Berathor. So. And so the specificity for Adod is that yes, he is a dwarf fighting with an axe, and the best way to do damage with him is to hit enemies with an axe. But he also has one of the best magic dealing attack of the early game, which is an axe that do fire damage over time. And that's what we want to unlock as soon as we can. But for that, we need to land those axe hits, because the way the game works is that whenever you successfully do an attack from one of your crafts, you put 1 point in this craft, and you can see it at the top under the craft, the attack name. You could see +1 SP to spirit powers. And once you've done enough of them, they unlock the next one, the next ability. And there's a sort of a tree where you can choose what you want to have next, sort of. It's very limited, but it's very cool, and that troll went pretty great, so I'm kind of happy with this.
Very nice.
Yeah, troll are very... I'm gonna make the evident pun, but they can troll you very much at the end of the game. And even at the beginning, because this troll drops one item called Waters of the Lorien, which is a healing item that will be very important for the worst fight of the Balrog percent, that we will be preparing all the way until we meet it. And that's basically how the run is done. It's like, okay, how many fight can we skip without a bounds? And then how do we deal with this specific fight? Which, spoiler, is not the Balrog. It's before that. So, but we are ending chapter 1, and just to give you an idea, we fly through basically a big chunk of the first movie, and we are going straight into the entrance of the Moria. Now, do you know who was at the entrance of the Moria? It should give you an idea of who we are going to be fighting as a boss for this game.
Oh.
Ooh, interesting. Also, let me know when there's a moment for donations.
Yeah, well, you can plug one in right now because I'm doing pretty poorly on my menuing.
Okay. We have $5 to Little Warriors from Turbo the Dog, who is a great reminder that it doesn't need to be a lot of money. It can be just $5. In fact, if 6 people donated $5 and put it towards the Helm Steep incentive, we would get to see that met. You've seen how broken the out of bounds is in this game. We need to see that memory glitch.
It's even worse than this.
Donate, assign it towards it, everyone.
Yeah, if you can show it, it's very, very cool. Even more if you've played this game casually, say hello Berathor, and some jaw in the time. If you've played this game casually, you know how hard Helm's Deep is. It's at the very middle of the game, and it's basically telling you, I'm going to make you live like you were in the Helm's Deep. All the waves coming at you, all those fights that you cannot shy out, you cannot shunt them, you have to be there, you have to survive for waves and waves of enemies. And we're gonna cheese that pretty big, so you can donate to that. And if you want to make a quick call, we're meeting our first big shot of the game by Bsky.app, which is the Watcher, I think, yeah. So if you want to make, I gladly want to hear of your favorite creature of the Lord of the Rings, so if you want to do that in donation, feel free, we will have some time to read them, promise. What's your favorite creature of the Lord of the Rings, Efreeti?
Oh gosh, that's a tough question.
Well, you have a little bit of time to think about it, because I'm going to just quickly explain. So it was pretty cool. The Watcher can do an attack called Reeking Sprouts, which does a lot of damage to the group. Oh, nice dodge. But this is where we learn that Hadod is definitely a mage because he has a fireball, and all good mage has fireball, so we're going to be using that quite a lot. Fortunately for us, because like I said, magic can't miss. And even more important, the counterpart to this is that the magic can't crit. So you can't crit, but you can't miss. So it's kind of a give in, give out. But we are reaching... I got Chill Up Slime, perfect. I was looking for a drop, very important, because once again, we need it for that specific fight that we don't want to get stuck. And we catch up with the Fellowship, sort of. We went at the entrance of the Moria. We did not have the password because the Watcher destroyed the entrance, like in the movie, but it destroyed it again, and then we can enter. I don't know how. And he's not fighting us anymore, it's just gone. But now we are in the Moria, which is chapter 2. It's the East Moria. I don't know if it's East or West first. I'm going to be... If I'm recalling, you might be able to help me on this, but if I recall correctly, they enter in the east side and exit in the west side of the mountains.
No, the opposite.
Oh, the opposite. I'm an idiot.
The enter in the west.
Oh, okay. So we are in the Western Moria. Now, quick question for you, Efreeti. We are in the Moria. What do you think the first enemy of the Moria we will meet?
Well, I would end up guessing that it's a goblin kind of orc.
Yeah, that's a very good guess. Now, unfortunately for you, the devs decided that the best first enemy that we could meet in the Moria would be the Watcher again. Say hello, Bert.
Jaw!
Your jaw! So, we are meeting again. This is where I have to put my little conspiracy tinfoil hat on my head, because I have no idea why they did that. Why the boss of the end of chapter 1 is the first enemy of chapter 2. And we just leveled up on him, so we can now do it much easily. And
that's really strange.
Yeah.
Like the Watcher in the Water is one of the most mysterious kind of creatures.
Yeah, it's
you basically find it in Tolkien's Legendarium in that way. It's not really described where it came from, like what kind of creature it is, or
it's supposed to be,
maybe once was.
Yeah, it's exactly it's supposed to be that weird mystery of this force and this lot of invisible force that exists in the Lord of the Ring universe, and this is one of the weird but also cool thing about this game, is that they said, screw it, we're gonna fight every big monster that we can.
Yeah, and I love that how the game implies that you beat the first one.
Yeah.
Because you got experience for the fight,
But the good.
and now you're fighting.
They were pretty.
In that case would be another one.
Yeah, but they were pretty smart about it because you don't defeat the first one. There's like a fade to black, and you just go back inside. So it's assumed that the
Right,
first one just catch up with you here. The question is, why? Why is there like water in the Moria? Why are we here? And what is it the first one? And the big the big like conspiracy I have in my head is that I really think the dev wanted to do a much longer game, something much bigger, with a ton of ambition. Just to give you an idea, this is a 2-disc game on GameCube, so this is one of those games that has a lot of things, and the 4 first chapter are fitting on the first disc. The 6 next are fitting on the second one because they have to rush so many things. And right now we skipped a lot of it, but you can see we had a couple cutscenes for the new characters, introductions, and normally you have other cutscenes where they explain why they're here, what they're doing, etc, etc. This is not going to be the case for the 2 next characters that we will add to the team that we will not see in the Balrog percent. We will see it in the incentive, so if you want to see them, please donate towards the incentive, because I really want them to be seen.
Yeah, and we're only $31 away from getting that incentive.
Nice. So, but you suddenly have like the 5th character which is Morwen. Basically, she has a cutscene and all, but the 6th character, which is Eowden, just appears and say, "I'm going to lead you to Helm's Deep," and now he's part of the team, and we don't know why. So, yeah. So here they are. I hate goblins. Sorry, I'm not supposed to say that, but in speedrun, you have to understand that. So we made a big out of bounds in the first chapter. So basically, we are very late on experience and a bit low on health compared to what we're supposed to have at this point, which you can imagine be like us jumping the game from easy to normal difficulty, but we did not, because that would not help us. I need to do Goblin Bane here. Please don't miss. Thank you. And goblins are supposed to not do a ton of damage to you, but play very often and just be like mosquitoes. They sting you all the time, and you're like, "Oh, I'm fighting goblins again. Oh, I'm losing HP again." And whenever you finally find a spot to save, you're like, "Great, I'm gonna be able to rest." But those goblins in the Balrog percent, I have to focus a little bit here because I need to slide behind this chest, please. I'm switching to Hadod if you are asking yourself, because it does not have the same hitbox that the rest of the team. It's a bit more compact and very useful to squish through tiny spaces. And there's 2 characters that are very important for out of bounds, which is Hadod and Idriel. I'm missing it by like a couple of frames. Come on. This is a bit finicky, but we are doing this out of bound, even if it's very short, to skip 3 fights that are very, very problematic. Not because the fights are hard, but because they have one type of enemy that we will meet later, which is a specific kind of goblin that can basically ruin the fun for us by doubling the time you need to finish the fight. I need to be careful here. There's a death wall, what we call death wall on the left. And here, same thing. I need to wait for Idriel to go back inside the level, so please, thank you. Because if I move forwards, my character will be stuck in some sort of invisible goo that make her move on the spot, so I will have to reload. And quite a heads up, I will not be taking any saves during this run, but I have all the backup saves I need if I get stuck out of bound. Just if I use a safety save, I will have to, I'll give up, like, I give $10 to the charity, of course. But just for the sake of us being on time and making sure that we don't get stuck somewhere, I took some precautions. But yeah, goblins. I'm ranting a lot about goblins, but do you have any factoids about goblins in the Moria specifically?
Oh.
Kind of tough one.
Put on a spot here.
Yeah, sorry. This is one of the tough ones. So
they're not really described as being the same as the orcs we find in a lot of the rest of the universe.
Yeah, the
Basically,
Middle Earth,
they're
right?
very different from like Mordor orcs and stuff like that. Very much the small goblin skittering type.
And they're also very scared of light and things like this, which is not always the case for many of them. Now, we are...
So in the lore, technically, like they're all supposed to be descended from corrupted elves.
Yeah,
But
that
there are
sounds
so
right.
many different kinds of orcs that it's a bit confusing how they all ended up like that.
Ja. Hello, Berto. So we needed... Sorry, I'm skipping a little bit ahead. We needed to have the Cleaving Wound unlocked because the Cleaving Wound is this famous weapon attack that does fire damage. And it's very strong. It can kill those wargs in an instant if we need to. We have also unlocked the craft item on Eleghost, which is completely useless. I'm very sorry to say that. If you're playing this game casually, don't do this. It's supposed to allow you to craft consumables during fight scenes when you don't have anything to do. But it's so slow to upgrade that it's basically useless. Now, the biggest point about craft items is that you can see there's a bar at the bottom right of the screen, and this bar fills up every time I do damage or use any kind of spells, etc, etc. And craft item is one of the, let's say, fastest thing to fill up the bar, and by quite a much. And I need the bar to be filled at the next fight, which is why I'm using craft item here so much, and letting the Cleaving Wound just slowly kill those enemies while I'm doing some filling up. And we're going to be pretty good on this, and we're going to be able to jump into much more difficult out of bounds. So, what we have... Oh, I did not get a lot of items. I don't like that. Those walls can drop quite a bunch of items, and they are very useful because using item also fill up the bar. And we have a quick cutscene here because apparently there's a giant door that closed behind the Fellowship.
We will have to unlock Moria's secrets first.
And
Yes.
Adod is saying that we have
Before
to
the
unlock some
goblins
Moria's
trap us
secrets.
here.
I don't know any Moria's secrets. If you have any, you can say them, but I'm very bad. Actually, no, it's not exact. I know one Moria's secret, which is that pretty much every wall is butter. So let's just do that. So this is a pretty dangerous out of bounds. If I go too low, I will be stuck under the game. So I'm gonna try to focus here.
I did do some thinking, by the way, and I think I have one of my favorite creatures in the legendary.
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
So there's this subspecies of human called the Druidine.
Ooh.
And they're barely mentioned in the Lord of the Rings itself. They live only in one place, the Druidine Forest, which is in Gondor, and it's just north of the White Mountains, northwest of Minas Tirith. And they are some of the Edain, which are like the name for all the types of man, as they say. But they are these completely isolated
Nice, okay.
humans that just live in this one forest, known as the Wild People, or like the Wodes.
That's so cool. Which team are they on? The good teams or the bad team?
Well, I believe they helped out very slightly. That's why they're mentioned in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay.
So they live basically on the way to where the trio went through to reach the army of the dead.
Oh, okay.
The cursed Gondorians.
We got a moment for a donation?
Yeah, go ahead. I have some menu here.
All right, we have $25 to Little Warriors from Wexel, who says, always down for an evening of nice cozy RPGs. Good luck to all runners and staff. Thank you so much for that donation. And just a reminder for folks, we are still $31 away from seeing that Helm's deep memory glitch showcase. It's going to be fantastic. You really want to get that. Also, if we hit that incentive, we'll also have raised $1,900 total this event. So,
Oh my gosh.
I think that's a win.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's
that sounds big win
like
to
a
me.
double bonus. We get an incentive, and we hit a nice little milestone. So, exclamation mark donate. Get your donations in. We have to meet that incentive by the end of this run, or we don't get to see it. So, donate, even if it's just $5. Get your donations in towards it, because every dollar counts.
Alright, perfect. That's the perfect timing. We are using so the bar that we fill is used to do the perfect mode, which is like big attacks that every one of your characters can do. And it's very strong on this fight because, as you can see, there's a ton of enemies. But with that done, we are already 2/3 of the run down, and we did again some pretty massive out of bounds. So we're reaching chapter 3, which is Eastern Moria. Now I'm not messing up with it. With a pretty much difficulty pumped back to hard mode.
It's really impressive already in the east of Moria in a Balrog percent run.
Yeah. And here we are meeting, well, let's say the protagonist, not this goblin, the big daddy of Moria, the Balrog, which has an amazing look and a pretty weak fire breath because it can't like attack enemies behind a small pillar. But okay, that's probably just a mistake. So we have almost catch up with the Fellowship. Balrog is up. He's running after them, and we are running after the Balrog. You should not do this, by the way. And here we learn that, yeah, the fire of the Balrog can melt rocks. So pretty strong fire in itself. Inconsistencies, but we are fine with those. We also have one of the examples of the dynamic between Elagos and Gimli and Hadod, which are basically the same as Legolas and Hadod, but with not an elf. So here we are starting to get a lot of information. I need speed and constitution. So we are making a massive level up here because we are one fight away from the big fight. And before that big fight, we will need to fight the worst enemy of the game, in my opinion, because I'm doing a speedrun, which is kind of... Did I do the stats of everyone? Yeah. Which it's a bit different.
Yeah, I imagine with all the out of bounds, you're skipping a lot of XP.
Yeah. The big problem is not the XP here. The big problem is that we are fighting against a shaman, and I got the best turn order I can get. So shaman can do two things when they start the fight. They can either do a fireball, or they can increase the dodge of the other goblins. And goblins are really the creature with the biggest amount of dodge, so having them being almost untouchable by anything else than magic at this point of the game is a big problem. Now we got a very lucky turn order because normally the shaman is playing first, and you can see even without the help of the shaman I'm missing goblins. So we have a pretty big and important setup to do because I'm going to be fighting a big group of goblins coming up very soon, and that's the big fight that we want to be ready for. Now also, to be ready for this big fight, I need to have 3 characters on screen because one of the biggest thing in this game is that you cannot switch characters from your team between 2 fights. Say hello Berthol, so Jar. Jar. I don't know why everyone's saying that. I'm going to finish this one. Yeah, that should be fine. I'm trying to think of, I nearly never get this turn order luck, so I'm a bit messed up in my brain. Because I did not explain it a lot, but the idea of how you prepare the run is that you say, okay, we want to do those fights, and we want to try to... I was not hoping much for this. we are trying to get to this point with those items, and then you do the run and you try your best to not have much spirit in this, but please don't kill Drill. I need her alive. Oh, come on.
Oh.
That's troublesome. No, that's fine. Okay. Luckily for us, we had a turn after this. I was scared that he would die from the flames, and that we would have no time to resurrect Idrial before the fight ends, because if one of my characters is dead at the end of the fight, they get half the XP, and that's not something we want before this fight. So, but luckily for us, everything is fine. So we are going to do our final level up. We need 46 spirit on Idrial. It's pretty important. We're going to put everything else on Constitution for Beto, so that is as tanky as it can be. And we're going to put 35 dexterity on Hadod. Now, with all that said, we are also going to put everyone back on full life. So, and full action point, which should be fine because we just leveled up. And we're going to jump into the toughest fight of the run. Now, why is this fight so hard? Because just for one simple reason, it's a circle fight. And basically think about like ambush. You land in an ambush because Berator wanted to go straight up, and of course we land in an ambush because Berator is not great. And so we are fighting 6 goblins in a circle, and the idea of circles is that you can only fight the 2 enemies that are in front of you, which is true for the enemy also, but that means I can only hit like 33% of them and draw time. But also that means they can hit like 2/3 of my team, every one of them. So basically we have enemies that are going to attack us, and you might say, wow, they're doing a lot of crit, because they are doing more crit when we are in an ambush. So yeah, this is not fun. This fight can go very wrong. I'm going to use a shell of slime, which is one of the items that drops on the watchers, and then I'm going to use the cleaving wound on the warrior. So the idea is that all those stats up, oh, that's a critical hit, that's very good. All those stats up, all the way we put our points up to this point is to have this specific setup. Now, whenever Hadod lands a cleaving wound on fighters, it's going to kill him. They're going to die from the fire. I don't have to worry about this enemy for the rest of the fight. And Idrial, with the shot sign and the buff from Berator, can one-shot archers. So we have one person that can one-shot the warriors, one person that can one-shot the archers, and now all we need is to survive for the rest of the fight. Ooh, we get lucky on this one. And we can wheel about, but every time we have to wheel about out of turn is pretty bad, so I will always try to wheel about just to hit one target, so that's why I do a cleaving wound right here. And basically what we are hoping for is that Hadod land his hacks, because Hadod can still miss. We put 35 dexterity on him just so that we are pretty sure he's gonna hit, but it's like the odds is about 8 out of 10, so sometime it can miss. And also,
and this is an obnoxious fight.
Incentive has been met.
Oh, nice, that's so great. Thank you very much, everyone. We will have a little bit of time to read donation in a while, so we will do that. Promise. Big item here, and we are going to be good to go. I'm going to wheel about again, and we only have 2 warriors to worry about, and we should be fine. This can still go wrong, and just for one reason, that might surprise you the first time you play, is that crits can be more than once. You can have double, triple, quadruple, and quintuple crits. So basically you can have a goblin walk towards Hadod full life and just one-shot him. Wow. Just because you got that 1 in a million chance. So just so you know, it can sort of happen. So you can see now the cleaving wound is doing its work. We are great. We are on a good pace. Do we land every single one of our acts? Perfect. Double crit, just for the example. It's amazing. This was a very good fight. It went pretty well. But you have to understand that in the past, This fight was not like this. We used to just put all our stats on damage, putting everything into Spirit for Ardod and Spirit for Idriel, so that we were sure that their attacks were doing a lot of damage. And at some point we were getting bored to basically do a coin toss at the beginning of the fight and hope for the best RNG. Oh, too bad. So everyone sat in a circle and said, okay, how do we pass this? This is one of the cool things about this game community, is that we are not many to run it, but there's a lot of us that are just coming back to it once in a while, just for the fun. And
That's really nice.
yeah, and that's one of the things that I like about this too, is there's not much to be discovered, but the couple discovery that we had in the previous years are very, very cool. I'm gonna save this troll because he can troll us very strongly. We're gonna make him sleep with you on pawn. And then we're gonna jar, of course. Very important.
I'm noticing how many of the usable items in this game would be very, very, very hard to get a hold of in the fictional universe.
Yeah.
Actually, nth bark
Yeah, just
and Kingsleaf is not supposed to have any healing properties unless it has been prepared by an actual king.
yeah, but no, we don't have those here. We
No.
the King's Leaves is the basic. King's Foils is the basic item. King's Leaves is just such a strong base item. But yeah, that's also one of the things, is that the power creep of this game is like, okay, we're gonna put things that are reminiscent of the universe, and let's not worry too much about some how to acquire things. We are going to grab one.
Literal Shelob slime.
Yeah, like Shelob slime on a Watcher. Which is,
They're friends, you see.
yeah, they're from the same place, I guess.
Yeah, the depths.
But yeah, right now this fight can be very tricky because you saw the troll is doing a ton of damage to us, and I put him to sleep because I really wanted Ardod to land his cleaving wound, and this is the best way to do it, because when an enemy is asleep you cannot miss it. And
handy.
this is very handy. We have a pretty small time. I'm going to find an ambush of goblins and open a chest, but if you want to read some donations or give us some messages, feel free to do so.
Awesome, fantastic. I'm going to start off with that donation that got us that incentive, $31 to Little Warriors from Akarosa, who says, "You shall not pass! Accept this incentive." Thank you so much for that donation and for getting us the incentive, and for getting us to $1,900 or more than that even now for Little Warriors. I do want to remind folks, Final Fantasy X is coming up next. There are 2 name bid wars currently open for that run. The very first one has 2 options for it. That's going to be to name Tidus. Right now, there's a couple options there, but we also need to name Yuna's Veilforce Summon. There's no name options for that right now, and so you could decide the name of that summon with just a $1 donation. So if you want to name that, you can snipe that incentive right now with any donation amount and get that character named something you're interested in. !donate in chat.
All right, thank you very much for those donations. That's amazing. I'm very happy to be able to showcase the incentive. We are going to do the hardest out of bound of the game, so I'm sliding next to the chest. I'm going to switch character, and it's going to put us up in the air. Now, why is this out of bound so hard? Is that because we are going to be walking for a while inside this out of bound, and we don't want to hit any of those death walls. But I also need to stay pretty high, because if I go under a certain part, I will not be able to reach my destination. Remember, I did not explain this before, but we cannot gain height when we are in out of bounds. We can only lose it. And we lose it by being above what we call walkable ground, which is going to happen very soon. But right now we're just moving around. So we're just using the same strategy, which is we did the minimum amount of fight that we could to get to this very specific chest, and this chest does not have any specific properties. The idea is just that when you put a character hitbox, oh, I'm a bit far on the side, a character hitbox next to the chest, and you swap for another characters, depending on what the configuration, what the layout is, the game is trying to put you on a place where it's not, it's legal again to say it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, sorry, I need to count for a little while here. We're getting a bit off tracks. This is not the chest I'm looking for, right? Yeah, this is the chest I'm looking for. Okay. In one of my previous runs, I went to the wrong chest and triggered an ambush fight, so now I'm a bit paranoid. But, so that's what we are going to do. I'm going to also go back on ground now that I'm next to here. Perfect. I'm going to switch back to Hadad. So what we are doing right now is that we went all the way here because we need to go to the end of the game. But for that, we need to hit a trigger. And that trigger is somewhere inside the void here. And the idea is that I'm going to hit the load trigger, but I don't want to go back inside the level. So once I see that I'm not moving anymore, I'm going to just move to the side, go around this big rock, just making sure I don't go through the ramp, because going through the ramp is the biggest problem we can have. And I'm going to go back inbound, but from the side. And you might say, wait, what's the big deal? Well, with us doing this, we do not load this part correctly. So we are going to go just through this wall again, which would not be an option if we did not go around. Now we are going to hit the second loading zone here, which is a bit more finicky, which is why I'm being a bit more careful, because I have to go next to this wall, but I should be careful, perfect, not to go back inside the level. And now that we have the loading from the next part, we are going to the end of chapter 3. And this is basically how you do the East Moria skip. It's very, very tricky. Know that this is not the fastest way to do it. The fastest way is to go straight to the second loading zone. But you have to line yourself up in the void, and it's extremely hard to do. Only like world record holders and on very specific attempts do we do it. So yeah, I'm not doing this. But we are 2 fights away from the end of the game, so of the end of the run, sorry, not the end of the game. That would be a shame. I don't need spirit anymore. I need to survive. And we are just going to do a couple more equipments, just putting us back on track. And we are going to put our team back on full lives with just some Lambus and some King's Foils. And we're going to jump into the, let's say, the real last fight of the challenge, the Breach of Khazad-dûm. And this is where I want to say it's so amazing to see all of those places that you've seen only in movies and be part of this. You can look at the top left here, there's a troll that will send us a little gift. Get that. Again, because it's normally supposed to be a longer cutscene, I guess, where they toss this at you. And we are going to fight 2 trolls now. Not 1, 2. But one of them is a drum. Oh, and he's being a mini. So drum trolls can do a group buff, which we prefer, or a sonic fury, which do damage, and we don't like because they put us in round of a one shot from the other one. Luckily, we are not getting too far off. I'm just going to heal here. Hopefully that should be enough to put us... I forgot to put the buff on the... Ooh, that's going to be a problem.
Oh no.
I can back this up. Jar time. Jar. Oh, that's great. Okay.
When I play this game casually now, I'm gonna jaw every time.
Yeah. So we are going to use more Ghoul Decay. Yes. Basically, what Sauron used on Nazgûls. And this is the strongest consumable of the game. It puts all the physical resistance of an enemy at 0.
Oh.
And you might say, well, that It's probably strong, but not that strong. Well, in the early game, no, but the way the game is balanced for the late game is that the enemies to survive 0 hits have more armor. And basically, when you use this item on late game enemies, you just go from having to fight them for like 20 turns to having to fight them for 3 turns. And spoilers, we are fighting a lot of big enemies because this game basically said, I don't know hobbits. Basically, you are going to be defeating Sauron at the end of the game. I cannot say it otherwise. So you just go on top of the tower and punch him in the eye.
Oh god.
So it's supposed to be a vision, but you're fighting all the big meanies of the game. You're fighting the Witch King, you're fighting every single one of them. Nazgul, you're fighting Muma kills. It's insane. And as we are going to see, we are also going to fight the Balrog. Because why not? After all, we're just reaching Gandalf. So in this universe, because it's not exactly the movie universe, the Fellowship already left Gandalf to fight the Balrog. And luckily for us, he's staying to fight with us. So we are going to do a little technique called put all the buff jar on Gandalf and let him do his job. So we are going to put the jar buff. We are also going to put the jar from Idrial, which is also jar.
God, it's like fighting alongside Sephiroth in Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Also, Mist. The bridge is pretty big.
Nice.
If you did not know, enough to fit 4 persons apparently. We're gonna put a stone shield just because we are actually going to do something a bit tricky, which is send some bolts in his face. But this is not the tricky part. The tricky part is that now that we have every buff we need, I'm going to use a long bottom away from him. Every buff that we need on Gandalf, we're gonna let the boss just down a whole team. This is, you suppose, and now the magician remember that he has a spell to reduce the damage of this specific attack. So we're gonna put that on for the rest of the fight, but it's too slow to have your whole team take actions and for nothing, basically nothing. They do too little damage and they're just here to support Gandalf. So we are just recreating the movie and having Gandalf one-on-one the Balrog. And we are supposed to do 8 bolts, 9 if we are unlucky. I'm getting 2 low rolls so far. We want some 7k damage here. We're not getting them. And here's the coolest attack of the Balrog. Bam! Oh no, it gets me every time. You have no idea how cool it is to get to this point when you first play the game and have the big music in the back and you fighting along Gandalf, trying to defeat the Balrog, trying to keep your team alive because he's doing a massive amount of damage. And I'm keeping an eye on my HP and my action point because he's lowering my action point, but that's not the biggest danger in this fight. Normally it's sort of a pushover fight in the speedrun because after all we are Gandalf, come on. But the flaming sword and the whip, the flame whip, are physical attack. And I'm going to see if you were attentive, keeping track, but what's the specificity of physical attack? They can crit!
Yeah.
So that the world where the Balrog just crit us and we die, so I just hope it's not going to happen. We are spamming Bolts of Valar, getting ourselves some HP and action point back up, and we also have the Jar of Idrial, which is Ace of the Elf, allowing us to have some double turns, which is pretty cool. And I think we are getting pretty close to the end of the run. I'm probably 2 or 3 bolts away from finishing this boss. So just get ready on time and we are going to be ending this, but it went pretty great. I did not mess up any out of bounds. I'm pretty happy with what I showed, and this is one of the cool thing with ooh, incredible, some Pretty good reflexes for an old man. Alright, I think this is going to be time. So get ready. You shall not pass it this. And in time. Of course. You shall not pass. Time.
That's fine. Yeah. Oh, we get the movie.
Yeah, yeah. So that's yep. That's Balrog percent for you. I'm skipping the cutscenes here because of course movie pictures plus movie sound make bad taste for any copyrights on recent YouTube and Twitch.
Oh, yes.
But that's fine. Just know that there's a lot of it in the game. We never went to it, but there's a scene menu where they basically give you lore of the Middle Earth by rearranging part of the movie and having the voice actor for the it's not Ian McKellen. Yes, it's Ian McKellen. So Ian McKellen came back to voice a bunch of lines. Voiceover. It's amazing. Really shines inside the game. But
I think I saw Christopher Lee is also voiced some.
Yeah, it did. So that's one of the two greats. It's the only two that came back, sort of. I don't know if it's both, probably for budget reasons, and for all the other.
And Charles Martinet as well.
Yeah. There's I don't know exactly which one exactly came back. I'm just going to prepare for the incentive. Very quick. We're going to get a ping screen. Hello. Because we have to switch to this.
While you prepare, is there time for a couple quick donations?
I'm pretty much ready, but we send them in so that we can just do the incentive afterwards.
Awesome. So while we were finishing up that run, we had a couple donations come in. $3 from Efreeti, who says, "It heckin' Wimdy." That went to naming Valfor Wimdy, but there's competition because we also got $3 from Alara, who says, "How have named anyone? Valfor is a good burb. Clearly must be named after Goodest Boy," and that now means there are two options for Valfor open right now, both at $3 for Pat the Dog Wimdy, and potentially another one incoming. But we'll see. Anyways, let's see the incentive that people donated for.
That's great. I love those names. That's such a cool thing. So we are at Helm's Deep. If you don't know Helm's Deep, it's one of those set pieces that are so amazing, and they really try to make it as alive and as accurate as possible. So we have the dipping wall outside, but they also put in a lot of life. You have all those NPC, all those warriors. If you look here outside the dipping wall, there's guards on the walls, there are tents and people, etc, etc. But the game cannot do that very well, so they tricked us by cutting the Helm's Deep in two, by having this loading zone in between those two spaces. Now the thing we are doing when we are doing Helm's Deep is that normally if you do the game casually, you have a lot of fights to do here, and it's pretty bad because it's slow. So in the speedrun mods, we are just going to trick the game by first of all asking this very nice guard to give us a little boost. Please boost me. I need upsies.
You have to boost me.
Yeah, you have to put me up. So it can be a bit tricky. There we go. And we are going to go out of bounds with this. I'm going to just be careful not to drop down. All right. And what we are doing is basically it's a single map, but the loading zone is only under that little wall that we saw before. So if I go all the way around here to this chest that is connected to a cutscene and trigger the cutscene, all of a sudden the game loads the second part of Helm's Deep. So right now what's happening is the game is trying to put too many NPCs on the map, and it cannot do that very well. So what we are going to do, we are going to move around Helm's Deep, trying to load NPCs and overload the memory behind it. It's a lot of technicalities, but just here we learn that the dwarves built Helm's Deep, and of course they are very humble about it, but it was also almost too easy, so humble
Very
and a
cool.
half. So we are going to move.
Actual reference to Helm Hammerhand.
Yeah, Helm Hammerhand, of course. There's a lot of reference in this movie. So we are going to go right here, get a loading zone, and back up, get a loading zone, And now you can see that someone just slipped inside my party. I don't know who this is, but this is weird. And so the game is also a little bit laggier because of all of this. But now the problem is we still want to start the Helm Zip battle, and for that we need to go back inside the other one without going through the loading zone. So we are gonna ask Legolas to boost us, which is pretty significant character development, if you want my opinion. boosting a dwarf. They'll probably be snarking all the time. And we are going to go back up there, loading back this. Now this is not completely finished because we are still not done with overloading the memory. So we are going to move down the stairs here, make the sky disappear for a second. There we go. And we are going to go back here until this guy, who's definitely want to go inside this wall, just go inside the wall. Can you go? Please? Okay, great.
I love being boosted by Legolas. Shall I describe it for you? Would you like me to find you a meme to stand on?
Exactly. So now we're playing some Rohan Fighter, and we are going to back to Idriel.
Wow.
The reason why we are using this NPC is that NPC does not trigger loading zones. So we are going to go back inside the armory to see Gamlin, who's the trigger for starting the Helm's Deep, who's playing peekaboo with us. So here he is, and here is not here. But now our whole team is gone. We are going to go out. Also, it's night time. The whole sky is gone. The whole ground is gone. Everything is gone. We are switching back to Idriel, and if I've done everything correctly, once we go back in there, Gamlin should play peekaboo with us again. Nope. No, he did not, but that's fine. We go back inside the Helm's Deep fight for good. And how Helm's Deeps work is that you're supposed to be on the wall fighting against those ladders with the characters of the Lord of the Rings. So we are playing with Legolas, which is amazing. And it's supposed to be very hard fights because you have to fight back and back waves of enemy. Also, there's someone here. Oh no, he's dead apparently. And we have a warrior and a Rohan NPC in our team. Okay.
Rockville.
And we are also going to be using Black Speech, which is the spell that we do not see in in the Balrog percent, but it's literally the step right after the Balrog, where Idriel becomes overpowered and can destroy pretty much any group of enemy pretty fast. Oh no, that NPC Rohan female villager is dead. Idriel is dodging a lot. That's amazing. We're gonna put some Black Speech again. That's going to clear some enemies. So the glitch is not completely done. The reason why we are going into this fight and destroying all this thing is that we need now to make a final little nudge inside the memory by loading an in-game cutscene, and that's going to be the drop that just makes it give up. But for that I would love for everyone to not die, please. We are going to clear up this a little bit, and yeah, as you can see, this does a lot of damage. The reason why this is so powerful is normally you're supposed to have this. Yes, thank you Legolas for this triple critical on the ladder. You're supposed to have this spell much later in the game, but we farm from it because it's so strong, and basically it unlocks we farm for like 10 minutes for it, but it's worth like 2 hours of going around and having to deal otherwise. Flashing lights, a warning, flashing lights coming up for like a couple seconds. We are going to get a bunch of level ups, so big sorry for anyone that does not like flashing light. It's not going to be very long, but just close your eyes and we'll be back in a minute. So the biggest point is that we still have a party full of warriors, NPC, and they don't have the level we have. So when we finish this first fight, they get a bunch of experience and basically just go top level. And you can also see that even some of the enemy team jump into our team because there's a berserker at the bottom of our team. But now this is where we are going to see if the tricks work, because I'm going to trigger the cutscene, and if it works correctly, you'll see. Yeah, perfect. So models are fused, and now someone is yelling that we should defend down there, and now okay, everyone's gone. We move down quickly apparently, and we are going to jump into the next fight, but the enemy is not here? Wait, what? And we win the fight? That's great. And we... Okay, so next fight, let's go. Maybe this... Nope, this one is empty too. So we actually managed to successfully trick the game, and apparently this is all that Saruman can conjure, so pretty much nothing. So we managed to trick the game into not putting the enemies into the fight, and this is so cool. It basically skips a ton of grinding. In the speedrun mode, it's pretty easy because we have this very powerful Shadowcraft, so it's just tedious because you lose time doing all those fights using Shadowcraft on a loop, and we don't need to do that. But if you have played this casually, this is a nightmare. You're getting low on resources, you have to manage stun because there's enemy that stuns you, you cannot swap all your character all the time. It's troubles. It's big troubles.
Oh yeah, it must be a battle of attrition.
Yeah, it's very... that's what I love with this. It's very much making you feel that you're at Helm's Deep, and it's a desperate fight. But right now we have a wall talking and saying that we need to fall back. Because all the cutscenes are
Yeah,
gone.
if the walls are saying it, I mean...
Retreat!
The castle is saying it is breached.
Yeah, the castle is saying... and he knows what he's saying. He's the castle after all. But this has another very, very strong perk that we will discuss. And also, normally this is a very big turning point. I'm sorry for spoilers, but because we have Berthor going even more into... and also, voiceless from the movie.
I do not fear them.
Yeah, Berthor being like, I do not fear them, I fear no one, I can kill everyone, I'm an undefeatable beast. And we just learned that the voice that we hear, which is the voice of Gandalf most of the time, is not Gandalf, it's Saruman, who's controlling Berthor from afar. And now we are going to have a very touching scene of torches and windows. So if you want to read a couple of donations where we just visit the inside of the keep, you can.
His power is overthrown by a more ancient one. Do you remember now? Does your doom return to you?
But yeah, that's basically the idea behind all of this. And of course we cannot do this without our very good help and friend Saruman. And this is Helm's Deep, and you might say, okay, that's a very good way to cut through this whole chapter that's so important, but there's another bonus to it, which is all those levels that you saw the NPC get, the game does not know where to put them, and he put them on the last character that we got, which is Eowyn. So right after this, when we get into sorry, I don't remember. Osgiliath, sorry, because that's the next chapter, of course. When we go into Osgiliath, there's all our characters are going back to the level that we get where we get them, except for Idril. But they still keep their unlock from the level ups. So basically, Eowyn, which is the Rohirrim fighter, that Rohan rider, gets all his level ups. And we finish with this amazing crown scene. Wow. And that's allow him to get one of the strongest power in the game that make him immune to magic, basically, and unable to be stunned, which is so important for the late game. Oh, no, there's still one. So we are done with Instant Deep. I hope you liked it, because it was just... it's just so fun. There's couple more things. The game is still bugged at this point, but just for sprites. So for example, Berthor decided that fighting with weapon was a bad idea, so now it's just going haymakers. Same for Eowyn right there, who drop a spear. But the best part is that now Morwen has fused with Theoden and become Queen of Rohan, apparently. So yeah, pick up for the Queen. And well, that's it. That's all for me. I'm all done here. Did you enjoy it, Efreeti?
Oh, that was really fun.
All right, that's great. I'm glad you liked it. I hope everyone had a lot of fun in the chat. Big shout out to Prevent-A-Thon again, of course, and Little Warriors for having me here. I know that I'm going to leave you with the next one, which is a real Final Fantasy, not a Lord of the Ring bootleg. But if you have time,
Yeah.
play this game. It's pretty amazing. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Zachary. If folks want to see more work, can they find you?
You can find me at Sekiri_Rad on Twitch. I don't stream a lot because I have health issues, so it's more once in a while. But most of the time I'm doing indie dives into very, very small games that are unknown. So yeah, come by and just say hi. I'll gladly exchange with you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for this fantastic run. This was so much fun to watch. And now, chat, we'll be back very, very shortly. Do not go away. We got some announcements for you.